Right now, the WIAA is getting behind a new bill to help protect its referees from harassment and threats.
And new information, the middle schooler suspected of shooting classmates with a BB gun has made violent threats in the past.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
Parents, coaches, and fans who take things too far with a referee after a call they don't like could be hit with a misdemeanor soon.
A bipartisan bill in the state's legislature would make sure of it. Amy Reed joins us now to explain why referees and coaches are on board here. Amy?
This bill has a lot of support in many levels of the sports world. Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association, the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, and today the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association. Those guys also threw in its approval. And with this bill potentially penalizing fans, why so much support? Well, that comes down to the real problem we have with referees.
Oh, here we go. Okay, 30 seconds.
Drill after drill.
Run the floor.
These girls are working hard to make every game their best.
Make sure that pass is where it needs to be. Let's get a 3 here at the end. Come on.
A quick way to ruin that? Ask a referee.
If the refs are doing their job and they're the ones that are just keeping it a clean, fair game, then, you know, it should be a very fun game to go to instead of just harping on them. That kind of takes away from it.
It comes down to an issue of sportsmanship, an issue the state legislature is ready to jump in on. A new bill co-sponsored by Democrats and Republicans in both caucuses would make it a Class A misdemeanor to harass or intimidate a sports official in response to a call. Refs we talked to said it could be a good idea.
You try to tune it out as much as possible, but sometimes you can't. And especially when it gets loud and the game gets a little heated, it's definitely something you can hear and take in.
Nationally, almost half of referees said they've feared for their safety on the job. 13% said they've been assaulted. It's enough to make you not even want to do it.
For some of those people, it's just not worth it to, step on the floor and get yelled at.
Coach Brad Pickett sees this on the other side of things.
There you go. Good hit, Ava.
Refs not wanting to deal with unsportsmanlike fans means fewer refs at all.
Square up. Knock it down.
He's even seen games have to be canceled because there wasn't a ref to officiate.
If it has the ability to get more officials, I think it's a good thing, just because we do need more officials.
Both these men hope, as a law, it would never have to be used.
Ready?
But regardless, it's worth a reminder.
People are going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes, and I think just understanding that officials are trying to do the best they can.
The consequences of getting this misdemeanor would be 40 hours of community service and potentially anger management counseling. This is still in very early stages, so no word now on when this could come to a vote.
Amy Reed reporting. Amy, thank you.
2 Republicans have come forward with a bill to allow medical marijuana in Wisconsin. This proposal from Assistant Majority Leader Mary Feltzkowski from northern Wisconsin and Senator Kathy Bernier of Chippewa Falls would create a medical marijuana bill for certain medical conditions. Democrats say it differs from earlier measures they put forth, but are still encouraged by it. However, Republican Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald continues to downplay support for any medical marijuana bill, saying he also opposes this measure.
Today is the last day of this current cold snap. Temperatures tomorrow will be about double today's high, but there's also a chance of some snow. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti, our first alert forecast. Gary?
Looks like we'll see a burst of snow about midday, but that as temperatures warm back up into the 30s. As we take a look at the time lapse from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville, early morning clouds gave way to bright sunshine for most of the day today. The clouds hadn't started moving in by sunset, but they are starting to move in from the west right now. High temperatures today in the teens for the most part. Janesville topped out at 23, Mineral Point and Monroe at 21. Here in Madison, only 19. Right now, temperatures are in the middle teens, and these temperatures have held pretty steady over the evening hours. And you can see those temperatures rising to around 30 by 10 a.m. when some light snow will start. We could be looking at an inch or two of snow north of Madison, maybe as much as 3 inches well north of the Dells, but a mix of rain and snow and no accumulation south of town. Otherwise, we'll see a cloudy start to the day tomorrow. Temperatures already in the mid-20s, some light snow from late morning into early afternoon, and just cloudy skies late in the day with a high of 37. Later on, I'll take a look at a forecast that includes some more cold air as we head into the weekend.
Gary, thank you. An update now to a story reported only on News 3 Now. Earlier this evening, the Madison School District district responding to our report that the Jefferson Middle School student accused of shooting another student with a BB gun last week allegedly threatened to take more serious actions. According to documents shared with us, the middle school student has been involved in 26 incidents this school year prior to being suspended this month. District Superintendent Jane Belmore says, quote, "The safety and security of our students is important to us," and she then says they will take corrective action if warranted after following appropriate response protocols. According to documents obtained by News 3 Now, during an incident in September, the student left a classroom without permission, screaming that he hated school and wanted to shoot it up and kill everyone in it. The district says tonight it will look into what they call the release of students' private information to local news media, and the district, again quoting Belmore, conducting a full investigation into the potential release of private information, end quote, refusing to answer our questions about any action they took regarding the reported incidents.
Another incident involving a gun at school, this time at DeForest High School. This morning, a 15-year-old was found in possession of a fake look-alike handgun. The school was briefly placed on a hold and secure, and the teen was arrested. Classes will resume tomorrow at Middleton High and Clark Street Community Schools after they closed today because of an Instagram threat to students. School officials say the threat was against a student walkout planned for this morning. After working with police, the Middleton Cross Plains Area School District no longer believes the threat is credible and no additional threats have been made.
All of these incidents are hitting way too close to home with the incidents that happened in Waukesha and Oshkosh last week. Now our system, this week, it is emotional, it's upsetting.
Police say the investigation is ongoing and they haven't found a suspect yet, but say criminal charges are possible.
And at Oshkosh, we're learning the 16-year-old Oshkosh West High School student who stabbed a resource officer used a barbecue fork. Grant Furman was charged with attempted murder as an adult today. Officer Michael Wissink shot and wounded him during that attack. Now, according to a complaint, it all started because a friend dared the teen weeks ago to stab the officer with a pencil and then steal his gun and either shoot himself or the officer. New tonight, the Madison Police Department has released surveillance images of men possibly connected to a shooting last month on Cottage Grove Road. Police say multiple callers reported hearing gunshots the night of November 24th. When officers got to the area, they found nearly 3 dozen shell casings, 2 damaged vehicles, and damage to nearby buildings. Detectives said they are looking to identify and interview the men in these photos.
Milwaukee police say an 8-year-old girl was shot and wounded in an apparent random shooting this afternoon. Police say the girl was hit while inside a home. She was shot in the stomach and taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Still no arrest tonight following a shooting on Madison's southwest side. Someone fired more than a dozen shots at a home on Allied Drive overnight. Police found more than 13 bullet casings from at least 2 different guns. About 10 bullets hit the home, injuring a 42-year-old woman who was hit by flying glass. A 22-year-old man and 9-year-old boy were also at home at the time of the shooting.
The Board of Police and Fire Commissioners plans to hold community input sessions as it works to hire a new Madison Chief of Police. 4 listening sessions will be scheduled throughout the city so you can share what characteristics are important to you for our next police chief. Those dates haven't been announced yet. You can also submit written comments via email. The board says the process could take 6 months to a year. A FedEx driver had a complete meltdown while trying to lift a very large box in Mayville, Wisconsin. The entire incident was captured on a Ring doorbell camera. Well, after tipping over a 144-pound package and pushing it through the snow, you can see the FedEx worker pick up the box, try to put it in the back of the truck. The package, according to FedEx website, is within their 150-pound weight limit. FedEx says the behavior depicted in the video is unacceptable, says it will take appropriate steps to address the matter.
A Peshtigo woman is up for America's Favorite Crossing Guard Award. This stems from an incident on a snowy and hazardous February day when 82-year-old Gail Bantis pushed 3 kids out of the way of a moving car. She was hospitalized for 2 months because of her injuries.
And I put my hand out as though I was going to stop this car, and she bounced right across the back of me, and I landed out on the side of the road by the snowbank.
Tomorrow is your last day to vote for Gail, and you can do so at safekids.org. It is the final day of this cold snap. Gary will let us know how warm it will get tomorrow.
But first, an update to a story we brought you last week. A Prairie du Sac man's final Christmas wish.
For an accurate forecast you can trust, watch First Alert Weather.
Olin Park's Holiday Lights Festival is a memorable event for many, but for a Madison couple, a night at the lights turned into a moment they will never forget. Under the spotlight Friday night, Caleb Michaels asked his now fiancée Kelly Welgan to marry him, and she said yes. The couple has been going to the Olin Park Lights Festival for years, so Michaels knew this was the best way to ask her. He turned on their favorite song, You're My Best Friend by Queen, got on one knee, and the rest is history.
I was actually on the phone with my sister that afternoon, telling her, I was like, yeah, I don't know when Caleb's gonna propose. It might be this spring.
It's pretty tough to trick her. I was spending a lot of time at my buddy's place in his basement, putting the sign together, and had to think of quite a few excuses for that, but I was glad I got to surprise her.
Well, now that the two are engaged, they'll be using their free time to plan their wedding.
Last week, we shared the story of Gene Whitenhiller, a Prairie du Sac man with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, whose dying wish was to get as many Christmas cards as possible. His story has now been viewed more than 35,000 times, and it has touched hearts around the world. Jamie Perez now with an update.
Since Gene Whitenhiller shared his story last week,
I have stage 4 inoperable cancer.
the outpouring of love and support has left him speechless.
An overwhelming outpouring of love and support from people that I've never met.
His story has touched hearts around the world and struck a special chord for these 3 men in Milwaukee.
And we took it upon ourselves to go out our way, at least 2.5 hours away. To see the smile on this man's face, it was so priceless.
After seeing his story online, Markeith Powell, Marquain Given, and Earl Mindley took the money in their pocket to buy cards and personally drive themselves to Gene's home.
I was kind of nervous because we didn't know if he was going to be there or not. So we didn't know we was going to make a blank trip. But we cared about this man's story so much, we was gonna wait out there for an hour or 2 or 3 until they come back home. That's how much we wanted to see him smile.
Lucky enough, Gene answered the door.
We knocked, we was nervous. He was like, bro, I'm nervous, bro.
Yeah, we was real
He was like, man, what should we do? What should we do? I'm like, bro, just be calm, just be calm. So we knocked on the door, and the smile on their face, it was just like they knew us already.
Yeah, they greeted us. They let us come right in. They told us to come in.
Come in. I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So we get in there, he immediately hugged us. He hugged us like he knew us. It was just like, it was so crazy. It was like beautiful.
Family already.
Just an unbelievable experience that tugged at our heartstrings, that these 3 young men had taken the time and the effort to drive over to personally deliver these letters.
They hugged, talked, and prayed together.
Like he had won $1 million. Like he was just like so happy. He was just like, you guys are so beautiful. He kept saying that. He cried and cried.
Oh, yeah.
He was so shocked because the same day when we went, he got 3,000 cards in the U.S. mail.
I think about them often. They're just 3 tremendously generous, kind young men.
An act of kindness that Gene never expected, as these 3 men spent the day with a stranger who doesn't know how many days he has left.
I contacted my son about coming back to do a follow-up visit with us at some point. We'd love to have them come back.
For News 3 Now, I'm Jamie Perez.
And that is just one example of the outpouring of love and support Gene says he has received since his story aired last week.
Next week, Jamie will go back to Gene's home for a follow-up story on what this has all meant to him, and that story is scheduled to air next Friday. Today's cold causing some issues for Madison's water crews responding to a pair of water main breaks. This one is from the 900 block of Midvale Boulevard this afternoon. The Madison Water Utility says before today there was no frost on the ground. Now there is between 2 to 4 inches of frost, and they say that is putting pressure on older pipes.
Meteorologist Gary Canalti joining us once again, and we're just about out of this section of really, really cold weather.
Right, and we're one of the few parts of the Midwest that doesn't have snow on the ground. That's why when it gets cold like this, that cold can penetrate in the ground and cause problems with frozen water pipes. But we're going to turn the corner on the cold, at least for a couple of days. You can see a lot of snow still on the ground in the northern half of Wisconsin, much of the northern Midwest. Over 2 feet of snow up in far northern Wisconsin and the western portion of the UP of Michigan. But notice this little slot here, southern Wisconsin, northeastern Illinois, no snow. There was a weather system that came through last night that brought some light snow to our south. Now, will we fill in that area? Some of that may fill in a little bit. Already some light snow pushing into central and northern Wisconsin, where 3 to 6 inches of snow, or maybe even a little bit more over northeastern portions of the state may occur. We're looking at 1 to 2 inches north of Madison, maybe as much as 3 inches once you start getting north of the Dells, and then the heavier amounts farther to the north, and just a mix of rain and snow through southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois with probably little, if any, in the way of accumulation. But traveling up to the north tomorrow, there are winter weather advisories north of Stevens Point to Green Bay line and winter storm warnings for far northeastern Wisconsin and the southern UP of Michigan. 3 things to know in the forecast. Well, it'll be milder with some light snow tomorrow. Again, maybe an inch or 2 north of Madison. Friday will be just cloudy with some drizzle or flurries in the afternoon, and then it'll turn colder over the weekend with high temperatures topping out in the low 30s Saturday, then falling temperatures and only low 20s for highs on Sunday. As far as the weather impact, this is actually for tomorrow for the light snow. Right now, just minor impacts expected because temperatures are expected to get up into the mid to upper 30s after the snow. So that may melt a lot of the snow on the roads if it does occur. High temperatures over the next 10 days. You can see slightly above normal for the next couple of days, then falling temperatures Saturday, below normal temperatures for the start of next week, near normal temperatures for the end of next week, and maybe a brief shot of cold air for the following weekend. But the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center from the 19th through the 25th of December, taking us right through Christmas, most of the country expecting above normal temperatures with the highest probabilities just to our south and west, about a 50% chance here in southern Wisconsin of that, and below normal precipitation over the central and eastern parts of the country. That includes the major air hubs along the East Coast, so that would be good as far as travel is concerned up to the Christmas holiday. West Coast, though, will be the exception. There'll be higher probabilities of rain as a couple of storm systems head toward the West Coast. Live view from the Edgewater Skycam tonight. We've had clear skies much of the night. We're starting to see some clouds moving from the west. High today, 19. The low temperature is 6, but right now we're sitting at 14 degrees. Skies are partly cloudy. The wind's out of the southeast now at 6 miles per hour, dropping the wind chill to 5. Those southeasterly winds will cause temperatures to rise overnight. So look for skies to be cloudy overnight, steady or rising temperatures from the low to mid-teens. No precipitation expected for tonight, but tomorrow will be cloudy with a burst of snow about midday, high temperature of 37, and again, maybe an inch or two of snow north of Madison. On future track, the clouds can move in for tonight. Temperatures climb to the low 20s by tomorrow morning. By lunchtime tomorrow, you can see the snow moving through the central part of the area. To the south, though, temperatures above freezing, mid to upper 30s, so a mix of rain and snow there, and then it's all gone by late afternoon. Tomorrow night, we see cloudy skies, maybe some flurries or a little patchy freezing drizzle, and maybe some flurries on Friday with high temperatures in the middle 30s. Snowfall amounts, again, north of Madison, maybe an inch or two south. Probably nothing really. 7 to 10 day forecast, you can see those temperatures dropping off over the weekend, but rebounding next week. By the end of the week, maybe some flurries or a little patchy freezing drizzle, but no major storms expected for next week. Remember, the following week is Christmas, so.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so we're getting close.
All right, Gary, thank you.
You're welcome.
Badgers hope their home court magic follows them to the East Coast. Kevin has the highlights of tonight's game against Rutgers next.
It's been a night and day situation for the Wisconsin men's basketball team. 5-0 at home, but 0-4 away. Tonight, the Badgers tried to pick up their second Big Ten win, which would mean Dun dun dun. A road game at Rutgers, who's unbeaten at home. Badgers trailed the whole first half until Trevor Anderson, all from long distance, puts the Badgers up 1 at the break. Wisconsin talked about cutting down on turnovers. Had 14 in the game. Geo Baker, the finish to put the Scarlet Knights up 7. Rutgers up 8. Kobe King, team high, 18 points, cuts the lead to 6. Still down 6. Nate Reavers called glass, I'm sure of it. But Rutgers had all the answers down the stretch. Caleb McConnell in the lane, the floater, and 1. And Rutgers wins 72-65 the final. Wisconsin shot just 8 of 23 from three-point range, got out-rebounded 40-26. They led for 71 seconds. The Badgers fall to 500 overall and in conference play. The Wisconsin women lived out of suitcases for the better part of the last 2 weeks. A trip to the Bahamas, road games at Georgia Tech and North Dakota State, raising the balance on that old frequent flyer mileage. Head coach Jonathan Sippis says it's good to get back home for a game tomorrow night and make sure their keys to the Kohl Center still work.
For our kids to get back out there, and they love our fans. They see, you know, I mean, we scheduled Saturday night around when we ate to make sure that we could see the volleyball game and see football, and I think they're anxious to have their own opportunity back here in the Kohl Center.
Former Wisconsin star left tackle Joe Thomas was a 3-time All-Big Ten selection, unanimous first-team All-American in 2006, won the Outland Trophy given to the nation's best interior lineman, and just got inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Now, despite all the awards, Thomas had a surprising answer when he was asked about his favorite moment during his time in a Wisconsin uniform.
My biggest game that I remember at Wisconsin was actually a game where I didn't play all that much. It was my true freshman year. We were playing at home against Ohio State, who was coming off of their national championship, and they had a long streak of almost 20 games in a row that they'd won. And so I didn't play a whole lot in that game, but we were able to beat Ohio State, and it was an incredible memory, and it was my first big moment that I was part of at Camp Randall Stadium.
Sunday's game between the Packers and Bears will be the 200th in the series. Since Aaron Rodgers showed up, Green Bay's taken the overall edge. He's 18-5 against Chicago. Number 12 said all that means is that the rivalry's been around a long time, and it'll be around a long time after he's gone.
But it's been fun to be a part of so many of them. I think I've been a part of, I don't know, in the 20s, somewhere mid-20s. It's a great rivalry for the game. You know, obviously the history of that. It's nice to be on the other side now. I know when, Farby started back in early 90s, I think we were on the other side of this rivalry, and now it's nice to be up by 3, I believe.
Libby and Lola Labata held up a sign that said if Christian Yelich hit a home run during a game in April, Daddy would buy them a puppy, and he did. And today, they got the collectible version of both at the Bobblehead Hall of Fame in Milwaukee. Yes, $5, though, from each sold will go to the charity of the girls' choice. Yelich delivers yet again. Garrett Canalti always delivers. Final forecast is next.
Well, there's our snow potential for tomorrow. Maybe an inch or two north of Madison, just a mix of rain and snow south of Madison with a high of 37. Colder over the weekend, and then the rest of next week looking pretty quiet with a brief warm up toward the end of the week.
Gary, thank you. And thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10.
Do something good. We'll see you back here tomorrow.